Good day, everyone, and a big EML welcome to Sergio Cerro, CEO and founder of Rebellion Pay in Spain. Good day, Sergio.
Hi, how you doing, Lee? Thank you for counting on us.
Thank you very much for joining us today, and it's a pleasure to have the opportunity to talk about Rebellion Pay, and also your journey. So I wonder if I might just start with asking you a few questions, if that's okay.
Okay, cool.
We first met, I think, back in 2018, but for the benefit of the audience listening here in EMLCon and watching online, can you tell us a little bit about Rebellion, what it is and what you guys have achieved so far, and maybe also what you plan to do?
Okay, sure. Well, Rebellion was born in 2017 with the aim of covering a need in the market of young people who consume products or our services, through the internet, but who did not have access to a payment method without the intermediation of a traditional bank. So these young people turn to their parents or older siblings to get a banking card or to transfer money to a friend. And now with Rebellion, all of these young people have found a banking solution that is more similar to Netflix, Uber, or Spotify than what they can find in traditional banking. Fortunately, over time, Rebellion has become a solid solution to other people with more experience operating with traditional banks. So now we can say that Rebellion has users of all ages that are looking for a solution that works well and that speaks to them face to face. So up to date, Rebellion is headquartered in Madrid with more than 30 employees and another office in Vilnius in Lithuania with five employees working there. All the regulatory staff is there. And our intention is to work internationally, to expand our services around Europe and obviously in Latin as well. We met each other in 2018. That we are working with BFS from since, and it's great.
Tell us about the staff there, because you've got the offices in Madrid and Vilnius, as you were telling. So what is it you look for in your employees and your colleagues, and what is it that makes Rebellion such a strong player, both domestically in the market, and I'll ask you some questions, if you don't mind, about international expansion. But first of all, tell us about your colleagues and what you look for in terms of your staff members and people who have joined you on the journey.
Okay. Well, Rebellion is a young company, it's a startup. So all the employees has an average age of 30 years old, more or less. All of them has experience working in technology and banking and other, design and the parts we need to grow. It's a very good, environment, and what they are looking for, it's an international business. A little bold, because we are, working in a very complex industry. In terms of expansion, Rebellion it's very well positioned in Spain, where we want to consolidate, because there is no any competitor who leads the market yet in the neobank industry. So we are very well positioned. And at the same time, what we want and what our employees is looking for is to work internationally in other markets. So
When you look at the markets, Sergio, and the position that you have in Spain, and Spain's an interesting market with, maybe potentially because you've got two huge global banks in there with BBVA and Santander. But it seems that there's a number of companies, and Rebellion right to the forefront, who are really sort of challenging in that space. But internationally, where do you see the opportunities for Rebellion? Where will you take Rebellion next?
Well, I think what differentiates Rebellion from the rest of neobanks or even traditional banks is that we want to be, profitable from the beginning. So, because we are seeing in the industry many fintechs, many neobanks that are growing really fast, because we are seeing that the profitability is like the last thing interesting for them. So we want to be profitable from the beginning, and for do that we are investing our time in making a great product. We are investing our efforts into have a really good product. That's the reason our customers and our users come to us. Not for the money we pay them for in exchange or acquiring or registering users, but because we have a solution which solves problems in the day-to-day life. At the same time, we are already working in some business lines which are very interesting for our customers. For example, we are now introducing us in the loans industry with a postpone purchases feature, which it's been great. Unfortunately, in the upcoming months and probably years, it's gonna be a grow industry because of the crisis we are going to live. And on the other hand, we are already investing in cryptocurrencies, because I think it's gonna be an interesting industry in the upcoming years. Probably this decade will be the decade of the cryptocurrencies around the world.
I agree with you, and it's an interesting. But I was just going to ask you actually in terms of where you see the neobanking industry, and in the next coming years, do you think that, well, crypto, you touched on crypto there as well, and open banking. Do you see much of an impact coming from open banking across Spain and across the EEA and globally, as well as cryptocurrencies?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think. I think there is still to do in the payment industry, of course. The cash money will probably disappear in this decade, and next contactless payment methods will become a commonplace. At the same time, new ways to move money will appear on the table, and it is likely cryptocurrencies will evolve to be accepted in certain economies by the deep crisis we are all going to suffer worldwide. It is obvious that all this will meet resistance, because it is a threat to the banking industry, which has historically had control of payments. But little by little, we will see how a new way of relating to money will develop. I'm completely sure. On the other hand, we are aware of the interest of companies like Google, Facebook, and even Apple to enter in the world of money and payments. And it was very, very known how Facebook has stopped a very threatening project of cryptocurrencies called Libra, since they have 2 million of users who can move money through WhatsApp, from one day to another. So, yeah, absolutely. I think cryptocurrencies at the same time and other contactless payment methods will appear on the table in the next 5 years, probably.
Interesting as well. Just on an EML PFS perspective, obviously we were fortunate enough to be chosen as a partner by Rebellion. What was it that made you look at at that stage PFS as a potential partner? What were you looking for, and what boxes, I guess, did we manage to tick for you?
Well, when we founded Rebellion in 2017, the whole team was clear that we wanted to be an international company. So at first we value the possibility to work with a domestic, supplier who make things easier for us in terms of communications and proximity. But this was incompatible with our desire to work with the best, at most technical advanced providers. So we liked the most about PFS was the good reputation you had, guys, and the interest you had and you have already in entering and having presence in Spain. And obviously the human quality we found, in all the team formed by, Julie, Emilio, Connor, Noel, and all the technical team that has always shown, professionalism. BFS always treated us as an important client, even though our size was irrelevant to you guys. So this is something that honors you. You have proven to be at the forefront of technology and has provided us with services that we have been offered to our customer before even of our competitors. So, thank you guys, because it has been a pleasure to work with you.
It's been a pleasure mutually. I think we were the lucky ones in terms of sometimes you go into meetings and you realise that companies have got aspirations, but sometimes worry that they won't execute it. We had no doubts coming out of the meeting that we wanted to be the partner for Rebellion. It's very, very clear to us that there was a deal / partnership that we wanted to be involved in. It was the drive and the clarity of vision. So thank you for your kind words, but also we were delighted to be selected. I'll just ask you a couple of other questions, because just thinking about what it's like, you're an entrepreneur, and as an entrepreneur, what made you get into the mad world of payments? Why put yourself through the pain of the payments world?
Yes, so, as I mentioned, Lee, we in Rebellion think that there are many things to do in the payment industry. It is obvious that it's quite complicated because there are many boundaries in the industry, above all in Spain, where we have, very powerful banks working here. But we want to be part of the history of the new generation of payments. How the people is going to relate with money is going to change, and I absolutely convinced of that. So I think there are things that we can do better that traditional banks and other players who are working around the world. Obviously, we need to count on the best partners around the world, no matter where they are. And that was the first reason, and I think the most important reason to enter in this mad world, of payments.
Well, I'm glad you did, and I'm definitely glad you did. But all of that takes money, and I know that a lot of this was, your own investments, and you backed everything to start with. But what's it like when you have to bring in new investors, and what's it like presenting and working with new investors?
Yeah, well, fortunately, we have invested by one of the most important VCs in Spain, who always believe in our project from the beginning. To date, we have raised around 2 million, more or less, euros. And although we have had movements this year to raise a next Series A around, 15 million, more or less, we have had to stop it and postpone it for probably next quarter because of, due to coronavirus. Anyway, in this sense, we are open to have conversations with investors from anywhere, and explore ways of collaborations in, new investments, business development in other countries, looking synergies with other, companies, banks, or financial companies around the world. We have had presentations and meetings with major funds in the UK, Israel, France, Portugal, even Germany, and remain very interested in growing our network of potential investors.
What is it you look for, Sergio, when you look at those potential investors? Is it a shared vision or a strategic potential to take Rebellion into new markets? What do you look out for with potential investors?
Yeah, we have never been interested in money for money, but in investors who believe in the project, who know the industry, and who can contribute in the expansion of our company internationally. So in this sense, we are open to have professional investors with wide experience investing in international companies, as well as other companies, other financial companies who can see synergies in our scope. What we are looking for is that kind of investors. So fortunately, the money, it's obviously important. The funds are important for every company, but to have a really good partners with us is even most important, because with great partners, you can find money easily.
I agree with that. I think that's a good way of approaching it. It makes a world of sense to us, and I'm sure there'll be no problems in terms of where you guys are going, given the growth of Rebellion and the attraction of the company and its markets and its growing sector. There's we were going to be joined today by your colleague Jin, who's found a better thing to do than talk to you and I on this type of morning. So a big thanks to Jin from us all, but to you, Sergio, massive thanks from all of us at EML PFS. Our best wishes to you and to all the team there at Rebellion Pay. And our best wishes to Jin, obviously, who couldn't be here because of the birth of his child, which is definitely a better project to be in than the one that you and I are in. But it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you this morning, and thanks for telling us all about Rebellion Pay. And we wish you all the best, mate. It's a pleasure working with you and the guys.
Thank you, Lee. My pleasure. Take care.
Thank you. Take care, Sergio.